A lot of people ask us why we never got a divorce.
There was one of us that was willing to fight for our marriage when the other one wasn't.
I met Kath through a relationship with my brother and her sister.
My sister said, Tim wants to take you out on a date. I just really wasn't that interested, but I said, okay.
And we went out on our very first date.
We went and had pizza, and we went to a drive-in movie, and Tim had a 6-pack, and he had some marijuana, and we drank and smoked weed and had sex on our very first date. That's how our relationship started.
And about 3 months later, she ends up getting pregnant. So 5 months and 5 days after our first date, we get married. And Kath was a senior in high school. I was 20, and on our wedding night, for sure, we felt like we made a mistake.
Before I turned 21, I have 3 little ones. And Tim's working 80 hours a week. I'm going to bed. He's at work. I'm waking up. He's at work. I'm doing the kids all by myself.
Work was the most important because I'm taking care of my family by working. If it wasn't enough to have affairs with my job, it was also the women. I had multiple affairs, and I'd never told Kath about any of my infidelity.
Me and Tim's relationship was not good. There was no joy. I'm searching for something, and I'm filling it with alcohol. I'm filling it with affairs. I wasn't getting love from Tim, so I would get it from someone else. We were in and out of counselors and searching for things to help us have a good marriage, but the world was pretty much telling us how to have a good marriage. There was never a day that we both said, let's get a divorce. There was one of us that was willing to fight for our marriage when the other one wasn't.
In '08, I was building this big brand new dealership and several other buildings with one bank, and my brother Ned was helping me build it. Well, that bank went into receivership, and I had all these bills to pay, and the anxiety was building. My anxiety was so high, and I felt so bad that all I could think about was death and debt. I didn't sleep the whole month. I had thought about suicide. I wanted to end my life, and I really felt like that was a way that I could take care of my family and manipulate one last thing.
I remember Tim was upstairs in bed one morning, and my mom came over. She just said, this might be a good time to get out. I remember I looked at her and I said, Mom, I'm sticking in this marriage. Tim needs me, and I'm staying here. I went upstairs and I told Tim what she had said. He was so afraid of losing everything. And I just told him, if we lose everything, I'm gonna stick around.
And ultimately, Ned dies. I was a total mess. My buddy came to me and said, I wanted to just ask you if you thought about reading the Bible. And I said, yeah, Bob, I'm reading the Bible, 70 pages a night, whiskey in one hand, Bible in the other. I'm not getting a thing from it. I'm just having anxiety and depression. I'm freaking out, dude. And he said, well, why don't you consider reading a proverb a day? I went home and asked Kath, would you consider reading the Bible with me?
I think that it just felt really good for him to ask me to read the Bible. Every day we would read it, it was like a feeling like we had never had. We had been in intensive counseling, and our counselors continued to tell us that we have a drinking problem. We decided that we would quit drinking August 31st, 2009.
And it was hard, it really was, because it was a very big part of our life.
I remember about after the 2-week mark, and we were reading the Bible and we weren't drinking, and things were really felt like they were getting better.
Our sweet spot, though, is when we're serving in marriages. We were on our way to a marriage event, and David Robbins from FamilyLife said, why don't you guys just start War Room Ministries? The mission for the War Room is all about marriages and family and walking alongside the church. We want to strengthen marriages and families with God's design for marriage. I'll tell you what, that is our calling. When we're serving in marriages, God just shows up.
The last thing we want is for people to look at us and see that we came to Christ and now we're perfect. because we're not. I specifically remember going to a women's retreat when I was in the middle of an affair, and I was listening to the women speakers, and I felt like nobody was in the situation I was in. Like, I was listening to these perfect women, and I'm sitting here in adultery, and it was horrible. And so I think of that now when we're sharing our story, and my hope is for people who are in these situations that they can start talking about it, because the longer you keep things in the dark, the worse it is. And what's so perfect about Family Life's material with Art of Marriage is we get to share our story along with what Family Life has put together. So it's a great tool for us to have the experts walk alongside us so we can share our story.
We think every marriage is salvageable. Having a Christ-centered marriage is, to me, the key to a successful Christian walk with your spouse. Doesn't get any better than that.